So guys, today being Tuesday, the US Congress is going to continue with the public hearing on the persecution of Christians happening in Nigeria. Guess what? A lot of evidence is going to be, made public because Trump has asked them to dive deep and investigate Nigeria. A whole lot of evidence are going to be presented during this hearing. So guys, Trump is not taking this lightly. Don't forget that recently, Nigeria sent a delegation to the USA. Now we are beginning to get more info on what was agreed on. There are people that US is insisting that they must go in Tinubu's government. People like Metawale, people like the defense minister who just resigned, and all the names that are yet to be made public, that the US is insisting that they must go if the Tinubu's government is serious in collaborating with the US in fighting terrorism. And now take a look at this headline here. This coming from Rile. He posted this like 24 hours ago, and he said, President Trump asked me and House of Appropriation to investigate the persecution of Christians in Nigeria. As part of this investigation, the committee is hosting a roundtable to continue building on the work we've done so far. We will never turn a blind eye on our brothers and sisters in Christ who suffer for their faith. So, an investigation on Nigeria as regards to the persecution of Christians. So, guys, Trump is not giving up on this fight. If you can remember, I shared with you guys that recently the Americans were in Nigeria to, take some view of what is happening. They flew from Ghana to Nigeria. I mean, they came in for a survey, and it was not hidden. I featured that in one of my videos, telling you guys that American jets have entered Nigeria. They flew from Ghana to come take survey of what is happening in Nigeria. So it's not as if Trump is sleeping. America is picking up all the information. And guess what? Even on the social media, there are a lot of evidence that these people have gathered that is making Trump to say they must see to the end of this. So as it stands now, Trump has mandated Rile to start investigating. That means digging deep. And they said a lot of evidence are going to be made public during this hearing. Now, see this House of Appropriation. Let me read this. Appropriation Committee to lead joint briefing on persecution of Nigerian Christians and threats to religious freedom. And it went further to say that Washington, D.C. on Tuesday, December 2nd, House Appropriation Committee Vice Chair and National Security Subcommittee Chairman Mario Diaz-Balart, joined by fellow appropriators and members of Foreign Affairs and Financial Services Committee, will convene a joint briefing with the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom and other experts to spotlight the escalating violence and targeted persecution of Christians in Nigeria. So the investigation is focused on Nigeria. And it went ahead to say the roundtable will gather critical testimony to inform a comprehensive report directed by Trump. Trump wants them to gather all this information. It went further to say on the massacre of Nigerian Christians and the steps Congress can take to stop the White House effort to steps Congress can take to support the White House effort to protect vulnerable faith communities worldwide. So guys, Nigeria is the subject. Nigeria is the topic on all this. But do you know what is even worrisome? The former CDS came out to say that some politicians are the ones sponsoring these terrorists. Look at the terrorists. Just look at them. As you see them there, they are all carrying guns. They are carrying guns. And they are dancing and chanting. They have confidence. Somebody's backing them. Metawale came out to say, not all these bandits are bad. Now take a look at the video. Also, El-Rufai criticized Ribadu and some other of them, northern people, of sponsoring these people, paying money, billions. Recently, Borno State spent billions for repentant Boko Haram. And this defense minister can resign. He said, bandits, where they are, the military bomb cannot get to where they are. That tells you that someone is protecting them. And we were all told by Bayo Nonoga that the military and whosoever called the terrorists, that they called the terrorists, the DSS, the military, that they called the terrorists to release their victim, and they released their victim. And guess what? This SDP presidential candidate has come out to say that some of these politicians have phone numbers of bandits, of terrorists in their phone, and the bandits have their own. Don't forget that Metawale has been accused of bringing some of these terrorists into his office as a state defense minister. So guys, a whole lot is happening, and that is why Trump is saying he's coming with gun ablazing. He's not going to spare. And the US has been sending their drone to pick up information because this terrorism must end. So guys, I'm just going to allow you to take a look at some of this clip that I've got for you, just for you to see what is happening in Nigeria. Honestly, this terrorism must end. And Tinubu must show the political will to end terrorism in Nigeria. He does not even, his body language shows he is handicapped. As in, they've tied him hands and legs. He can't do anything. Tinubu is not showing leadership. Tinubu is not being at the forefront. Tinubu is silent. Why? Being a southern president. Because he feels the cabals who are the ones sponsoring these things may be responsible for bringing him to power. So without those people, he may not come second time. And Tinubu is scared. You can see from this headline here, it says pressure mounts on Tinubu to sack Metawale as US insists. US is insisting on defense ministers, not one. Even the defense minister that resigned, the US is responsible, saying they must go. And these are people Nigerians have been calling out for, protecting the interests of these terrorists. This one says that the US insists on defense minister's removal before security collaboration. Hey, and see here, this is the Speaker of the House says Boko Haram members found in army recruitment list. Nigeria rep member is speaking, and here it says that defense headquarters probe sudden withdrawal of soldiers before Kebbi school abduction. Because if you follow the news, you know that Senator Abaribe has gone on this saying they must probe. Finally, today we saw this headline that the military have started probing them. Don't forget that an APC chieftain came out to say bandits are jihadists, not terrorists. Federal government can't give them terrorist treatments. Can you see how these people are being protected despite all the mayhem they have caused to Nigeria? So guys, I'm going to allow you to take a look at this, and guess what? A lot of evidence are going to be being presented during the hearing by the US Congress. It's going to be hell. I mean, it's going to be hell. US has vowed that this terrorism must end because it's like Nigeria is the headquarters of these terrorists, and US wants to eradicate them, which is a welcome development. Now take your time and watch this video.
It's the same, and it's not all of them are criminal. Not all of them are criminal, because if you know, or maybe if you investigate what is happening or what makes them to take those laws into their hand, some of them sometimes were cheated by so-called Nsakai, and I have to ban completely the Nsakai in my state. The Nsakai is those called vigilante group, who normally went to their settlement, destroy their property, and take their animals. So they doesn't have anyone to speak with. So sometimes they are going for revenge. Like if Ntsake attack them, so they will go for reprisals. So that is what exactly happening. And some of them are living in a settlement where close to a village or town, and they sometimes if there is maybe operation, military operation, the military will go and destroy their properties and their animals. So they are angry with such actions sometimes. So sometimes if you are talking to them, you can understand where they are coming from and you can understand their problems. So it is important we as leaders to sit down with those people to understand what is the genesis first. You can't just, jump and conclude that the person is criminal. You have to listen to him. What makes him to go into that activities? So this is what to do. So they are not all of them. It's not all Fulani are criminals. Some are good citizens, but due to some circumstances, they subscribe to such a criminality.
It's not about ransom. They just want to pass a message. We can come in. We can do what we need to do. And there are some hardliners in this government that are sponsoring this kind of narratives. They just want to show that they can Islamize this country. They think about Taliban, they think about the Mujahideens, and they want to replicate it in this country. And they don't care what happened. They simply don't care. As long as at the end of the day, there's Sharia, and there is whatever thing they have in their head, they want to achieve. So these people that are sending messages are sponsored by Nigerians. You remember this Boko Haram issue started since 2012. Yeah. And I was in the military intelligence that time. We arrested those people. It is my organization that actually conducts interrogation and interview. And they mention names. I mean, I can't come on air and start mentioning names of people that are presently in government now that I know. Presently in government. That the boys that we arrested mentioned. Some of them are governors now. Some of them are in the Senate. Some of them are in Aso Rock. The intention is to Islamize Nigeria and practice Sharia. And it doesn't matter if some people die. It doesn't matter if you're embarrassed. It doesn't matter if our economy has degenerated. Look at the interest rate. Look at the inflation rate. Look at the depth profile of Nigeria. They don't care. As long as at the end, the Quran is at the sea. So some people in this country have this mindset. And we must tell the truth. If you tell the truth, you die. If you don't tell it, you die. Some people have this mindset to Islamize the nation. And they are in the government. And people know them. The DSS know them. The NIA know them. The DIA knows them. You can't succeed without an inside person. And this attack you saw has insiders collaboration.
The video we are watching depicts members of Boko Haram, a militant group in northern Nigeria, celebrating what they perceive as victory over the Nigerian army. In this video, they can be heard chanting praises to God, expressing their belief and divine support on their side. Additionally, they were proclaiming their intention to defeat the Nigerian army and the government, declaring that they will continue to triumph with God's help. If you are watching Voice TV Nigeria for the first time, please do also subscribe, like, share, and...
Look, let the governor or anyone come and deny. We have the evidence. When the time comes, we'll reveal everything. They are paying bandits. They are empowering bandits. This is what this government is doing.
And you think that will not work?
It will not work. It has never worked anywhere in the world.
Criminal or a violent person by their targets.
Correct.
And you look at the targets of recent, and there are those who say, okay, let's take, and you have said that we cannot take away the external influence of what we've seen altogether.
Correct.
For example, Mr. Donald Trump, who had said they will come to Nigeria gun blazing, and that they will, based on what they are reading, that there is a Christian genocide in Nigeria. And then you see attacks on churches. Churches are not the only ones that are being attacked, but abduction of priests in churches, abduction of traditional rulers, people who have been killed in Kebbi, abducted in school and all whatnot. To you, is there a possibility of a link that these terrorists or these bandits are listening to the political dimension? And I've spoken to politicians on this program who have said, look, Sheung, forget it. This is political. All what we're seeing in the last few weeks or so is politically driven. What do you make of those debates?
Well, somehow you can't hold people for their views. But the reality is that our issues, in terms of security challenges, are multifaceted, implying that just as you have terrorists who have an ideology, you equally have those who are bent on, targeting Christians. And there are also those who are also targeting communities, that is, desiring to displace communities and wanting to stay in those communities to be able to have a voice, or perhaps that could be their bargaining chip, as it were. For whatever reason, there are different reasons. There are those who are also regarded as economic criminals and so on and so forth. So if you now just assume, or if you like, lump the entire thing to be one of those strands, then of course that would be, the analysis would be wrong. And those who also say it's political is also, again, that will be lumping all the issues to assume that all the other issues, do not matter. It's just for you to heap it at the back of the politicians. That's also not correct. That does not mean that some politicians have not taken advantage of the insecurity, or if you like, the state of under governance, as it were, if I may use that coinage, to want to perhaps gain some form of leverage, to give impression that they can do better. Others perhaps want to give impression that, look, to score the point that there is poor governance, they could also instigate certain crises in one way or the other. So those who believe that it's purely political, maybe assuming their argument, maybe having the argument from that angle. But then, for me, as a security person, and who, of course, has seen it all, it would be wrong for.
So, General, for the fact Christians are being targeted.
Of course, some Christians are being targeted. No doubt about it.
For a fact, politicians are funding terror in this country.
Some politicians.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't want to say.
I mean, so when I say politicians, that means that there are
yes.
the politicians who are funding it.
Of course.
But why has it been difficult for us to be able to know the names of? Why is it strategic? Is it intelligence? Or why has it been difficult for names to be named?
Well, this is not what I should come here to begin to discuss. More so that I know I'm no longer in active service, but I believe that there are a lot of individuals who are being called to question. You also recall that even whilst I was sitting, there were some trials that were made, especially for the financiers and so on and so forth. So it's not for public consumption. What I think we should do at this point is to give support and trust those who have been charged with such responsibilities that they will do what is right. And I think that it's our responsibility to also encourage those who are on the fence to begin to reason that, for them to know that not everybody in government is a criminal. Not everybody in government is a liar. Not everybody in government is unserious. That there are a good number of Nigerians who have the heart of delivering the mandate for which they have been appointed and the mandate for which they have been elected.
Yeah. As of 1992-93 in Kaduna, a riot broke out which they call the Zango Kataf riot. I was a young boy, very, very young then. And people were killed in scores. If you are not an Hausa person practicing Muslim in Islam, they were killed. Especially if you are from the southern part of Kaduna, the tribes from the southern part of Kaduna, they were massacred. It was called the Zango Kataf riot. And if the next thing they do is to burn churches, kill Christians, and then if they are done with that, then they focus on businesses that is for Igbo people, Igbo-owned businesses, and they destroyed it. I grew up knowing that Christians are an endangered species in Nigeria. In the year 2000, when the Sharia riots, how many of you have heard of the Sharia riot? Hundreds of thousands of people were killed in Kaduna. I can remember vividly that we had to defend our house from people. They brought some Fulani boys and they faced our house. They were shooting arrows. They were stoning our zinc. They spot our zinc shooting arrows. Even though I was a Muslim then. Even though my father was a Muslim then. But because majority of the people in our compound were Christians, so they were willing to destroy every one of us because we're living with Christians. I can remember a particular church in Mando, for those that know Mando, in Kaduna, called Chapel of Redemption. That church was destroyed. And so from that time, anytime there's a little hanky-panky in Nigeria, the first target is churches and Christians. And this has prevailed for a long time. That even if there's a problem with in another country, the Muslim and the Hausas in Nigeria will rise up and begin to kill Christians. How many of you remember the Miss World crisis in 2002, 2001, 2002? That somebody threw a picture of Muhammad or something in France, long away in France, and they began to fight in Nigeria. Are you following me? Christians are endangered species. Now let me give you, and that's how it has continued. Scores have been killed, and they focus on regions where there is a mixture of both Christianity and Islam. If you look at states like Kaduna, state like Plateau State, state like Nasarawa, state like Taraba, state like Benue, state like Bauchi, state like Gombe, state like Borno. These are places where they focus on because they intend to eliminate every living Christian in that place. Anybody that debunks it is a total lie because I have grown and lived in the north. I've spent 80 to 80% of my life in the north, so I understand this thing. Several times, I cannot forget the Sharia riot. We were running for our lives. Even though we are Muslims, but we're still running because as far as you are not of that ethnic group, practicing what they practice, you are a victim. You can be burnt alive. Many of us saw human beings that were burnt alive, like roasted like yam. And it has been going on for a long time. The genocide against the Christian faith. Are you with me? Many years ago, in Kano State, a man was beheaded. And anything they talk about, he said blasphemy. And guess who was the person that led it? The man called Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, was the one that led him up. And they beheaded him, they killed the Igbo man. They killed him and they put his head on a stake and they were using it to parade the city. You will understand of a woman also that is an evangelist. Evangelist Eunice that was preaching about 2016 or 18 in Abuja. And they killed her. We cannot talk about a young girl called Deborah Samuel that was killed. I schooled in Jos, and for years, the people of Plateau have been massacred. Riot breaking out every single time. The world that the moment anything happens, the next people that are victims are Christians. And it is unfortunate that all these years the government have not been able to do anything about it. But the agenda is deep. Are you with me this morning? Why am I saying? Because I don't want us to be an ignorant people. If we're ignorant people, they will control the narrative. And these days, let me tell you this truth. God will not come and fight for you. Remove that thing from your mind. If Christians don't rise up, pray from now till tomorrow. God is not coming to fight for you. Are you with me? Now, in the year 2009, Boko Haram started. Boko Haram started because of a section. It was a political movement. They created Boko Haram as a political talks to bring confusion into the government of Goodluck Jonathan, and to be able to, destroy any opposition, starting from Borno State, under the watch of a man called Kashim Shettima, which is now the vice president of Nigeria. Kashim Shettima and the other man, Ali Mohammed Sharif. These were the people that started the business of Boko Haram as a political talks to be able to oppose their opponents. But after a time, the ideology grew and they began to destroy. Now, it became a problem and they began to use it to destroy, bombing here and there. In 2009, 2010. As of 2010, a man led a meeting in Jos. Are you with me? He led a meeting that they were going to annihilate Christians within the locality of Plateau, Borno, Plateau, Bauchi, Kaduna, and Nasarawa. And he said they are going to perform jihad. They will bring jihad and they will go to kill them. If the Islamic leaders are not willing to lead them, he is ready to lead the movement. I have the minute of that meeting in my phone presently. Guess who is that person? Issa Pantami, that was the former minister of communication under Buhari's regime. And several times, these are people that are terrorist sympathizers. And that is why the Nigerian army have not been able to win the war against the terrorism. Because people have, the terrorists have infiltrated the Nigerian ranks, the army ranks, so they cannot win the war. That said, Osama bin Laden was a better Muslim than he is. He was sad when Osama bin Laden was killed. And he has said it several times that Boko Haram should not be killed. He said they are Muslim brothers. How do you win a war against terrorism? Where there are people high in government that are sympathizers to terrorism. How do you win that war? Now, there are 4 categories of insecurity or people that are causing insecurity. Number 1, you have Boko Haram. Number 2, you have bandits. Number 3, you have Fulani herdsmen. Now I'm going to show you how they are connected. Many people don't know. The Boko Haram and the Fulani herdsmen have one mission. The mission is simple: Islamize Nigeria. Come to a territory that are Christian dominated, kill everybody there, occupy their land. Go to Benue, look for a community, kill them there, occupy their land. That's always me. Boko Haram and the Fulani herdsmen. Have you noticed that Fulani herdsmen they don't kidnap, they kill? There's hardly a place you hear that Fulani herdsmen capture, that they say these are Fulani herdsmen. No, when they go, they kill. How do they kill? They kill with guns. You must now ask yourself, how does a Fulani man get AK-47? Do you know the cost of one AK-47? One AK-47 is over $1,000 something. Where will a Fulani man be able to obtain to be able to get one AK-47? Are you with me? And now, so you will know that there are people that are sponsoring this movement. Then the Boko Haram and the Fulani, they go about Christian-dominated areas. You will understand that when this terrorism started in Nigeria, that only people that were killed were Christian churches. You will not hear that they kill anyone. It is Christians and churches. I remember in Kaduna then that churches began to look for security men to guide their churches in every service day. Otherwise, you can be in church and then the next is boom, everybody dies. And churches that don't have money to hire soldiers began to use some of their members. I was a member of the security team in my church in Deeper Life in Kaduna in 2010. Because we don't stay in the church. Once I come to the church in the morning, we stay outside, moving around patrolling, because anybody can come and drop anything. So when Boko Haram started, the majority of Muslims, the Hausa, Northern Muslims, they were happy. I know of people that were celebrating it. If you see them crying today, I'll tell you why. At the initial beginning of this thing, they were happy celebrating the killings of Christians. They said they are purging Nigeria of RNA. It was majorly on Christians and Christian-dominated areas. But when it comes to 2014, the man Buhari and APC that wanted to overthrow the government of Jonathan, by all means, decided to employ mercenaries from Niger, from Chad, from all those Fulani, from other African nations where they are Fulani, and they brought them into Nigeria. What was the goal? The goal was that if Jonathan does not concede defeat in the election, they were going to rain hell on Nigeria. So they brought in these mercenaries, and they equipped them with rifles, the Aerofiles, the Buharis. Are you with me? The Aerofiles, the Buharis. Every one of these people called APC, they brought in mercenaries and armed them in the bushes and told them to wait. The moment Goodluck Jonathan did not concede defeat in the election, they were going to start. But unfortunately for them, Goodluck knew of the assignment. He got intel about it, and because the man said his ambition does not worth the blood of millions. So the man conceded defeat and left. And so they declare APC winner. Now, you have already brought people from different parts to come and fight. But what they wanted to come and fight for did not achieve anymore. So now they left those people in the bush. They left them with guns and ammunition in the bush. And when Buhari became the president, he abandoned them. Instead of them to settle them and let them go back, they abandoned them. And the people saw Nigeria as a place that is good. And the people decided to remain in Nigeria. Those are the people that started bandits. Before, we don't have anything like bandits. Banditry started under the watch of APC, under Buhari, because they were the ones that brought them in. Kidnapping, because they needed to survive. So they started by kidnapping. And they started by kidnapping. And they started by kidnapping. And they started by kidnapping. Over time, now, you understand that there are certain parts of this nation where there are mineral resources. Don't be an ignorant Christian. Follow me. Don't be an ignorant Christian. Don't be in a nation where you don't have understanding of what is happening. Now, there are some parts of Nigeria where there are good resources. And so, and this is have been illegally mined by elites, the military generals, the oligarchs, the people that are the leadership of the North, they were mining these resources, and the money does not go into the federal government account. So what they do is that they employ the services of this banditry to create two things. Number one, to create diversion. So when you go to Zamfara, that's why you hear that they say there is killing in Zamfara now. It's because of the Ilema gold mine. There is gold in Zamfara that they are mining. And so these bandits that are already in the bush, some people collaborate with them, partnered with them, and told them to see, keep creating confusion, create chaos. When you keep creating chaos, the Nigerian state and the people of Nigeria will not be able to focus on the illegal mining. They'll be concerned about the insecurity. So the insecurity is created as a means of diversion in the north. Are you following me? It is created as a means of diverting the attention of the military and the Nigerian populace from being able to focus on the illegal mining of resources. And any part of the north where there is resources, you find out that insecurity there. Recently, it has started in Kwara because there's a great amount of lithium in Kwara too that they have discovered and they're mining. So they partner with the Chinese because the people that do this illegal mining are the Chinese. They partner with the Chinese to be able to, so the bandits became the security men of the Chinese and all those people to protect them. So that while they are mining, they can begin to cause chaos. Because while the people are mining and they are causing chaos here, kidnapping here, killing here, nobody will be able to focus on what the Chinese are doing and those people illegal mining. Every single day to this moment, I'm telling you, they are mining in those places. And they will take it to an airfield in the bush and fly it out of Nigeria. They are making billions of dollars from it every day while people are being killed. That is why you now hear that Muslims are saying that they are killing Muslims too. What you have, it is what Buhari created. The APC-led administration created, the banditry they created, is what is affecting the North now. Because the people they brought to come and kill Nigeria in 2015 did not succeed because good luck relinquished power to them. And now the people have become thugs. They have become tools to be used in the hand of men that are using them to secure their illegal gold mines. And that's why you kill them. That's why you hear that they say they are killing Muslims. Now, the Christian persecution and genocide has been there. So you find that the other part, the Muslim and the Fulani men keep going around killing in all those parts. And the Christians and the churches have been silent for too long. This evil has prevailed in Nigeria because the righteous men have been too quiet. If we're ever going to win against insecurity in Nigeria, Nigeria must put two things Nigeria must do. Number one, Sharia law must be completely abolished in Nigeria. Because Nigeria is not an Islamic state. Why will Nigeria, some part of Nigeria, be practicing Sharia? The law guiding them, constitutional law, that believe that if somebody deserves to die because he speaks against his God. Can an Hausa man insult Jesus and I kill him for insulting Jesus? But somebody believes when you speak against Muhammad, you deserve to die. How do you live in a country with somebody that have that kind of mentality? The military have become complicit. They are compromised. Nigerian military cannot win this war. 20 years from today, I'm telling you, 20 years from today, this thing of insecurity will not end because there are people that are enjoying it, benefiting from it, and reaping from it. If Nigeria want to win this war, partner with America. Let them come and militate. How many of you have seen that in Kanu yesterday, some people were protesting that they don't want America to come? Because they believe what they have been told is that if America is coming to kill Muslims, and the man says he wants to come and kill terrorists, but they are protesting. Anybody that is negotiating, people like Ahmed Gumi, Sheikh Gumi should be locked away. A terrorist sympathizer is a terrorist. A man that believes that you are not supposed to kill a terrorist is himself a terrorist. A man that believes that we should go and negotiate. How do you go and negotiate with terrorists? Because you see, terrorists are not just criminals. They are working with a wrong ideology. A man that believes that killing is, he has nothing to lose. How do you negotiate with a man that believes that killing himself is going to meet their God in heaven to collect 72 virgins? How do you negotiate with such a person? A man like Sheikh Gumi should be locked away. A man like Ali Muhammad Bushari should be arrested. You want to win against terrorism, you must go brutal. No nation win against terrorism by pampering them. The custom is taking rice, seizing rice from Nigeria and taking it to terrorists in the bush that they need to take care of them because they are human beings. No. The moment you have become a terrorist, that you see that taking the life of your fellow human being is nothing, is to please a God, then you don't deserve to live. Children of God, I'm not going to ask you to pray because this is not a period of prayer. This is a period of action. Reverend Dr. Ezekiel from Jos, the man have been speaking, I've created attention. Not for once have they invited the man for interview because they don't want to give the man any airtime. But you see, any little thing they will call Gumi and give him microphone. Gumi, they are inviting Gumi up and down. The media is complicit. The Nigerian military are complicit. You can't win war with this Nigerian army, not because they don't have the capacity, but because they are compromised. Buhari created banditry. The people like Gumi and the rest of them, they are the people that facilitated the idea of Boko Haram. And today, some of them are your leaders in government. Some of them, most of them are moving free. Not one have been arrested. Kabiru Sokoto that bombed Nyanyan in 2011. When they rearrested him, guess where they caught him? In the house of Shetima in Abuja. What is he doing in the house of Shetima if Shetima doesn't know him? But today, Shetima is your vice president. How do you win a war where terrorists are ruling you? Where terrorist sympathizers are moving around? This is not a period to say we are praying. No! This is a period of wisdom. This is a period of action. Churches in the south have no idea. They sit in their cozy churches with us employing them. They don't know what it means to be in the north. They don't know what it means to be running for your life. That every Sunday in the church there in Kaduna, when they say let us pray, everybody's praying with one eye open. Because you don't know, God might go up at any time in the church. The Nigerian church must rise up. There's an agenda. And if you read the minutes of that meeting in 2010, led by Isa Patami, you will not believe it. I have a recording of his messages. Where's Appeal? Where he said, why would they be killing their people? He said, why would they be killing his Muslim brothers? Referring to Boko Haram as their Muslim brothers. How do you win with such a people in government? And that guy was a minister under Buhari for 8 years. Do you know what I'm telling you this morning? You are a Nigerian. If you are not aware of what is happening around you, in a short time, one day your calamity will just come. You will not know how. Are you with me? The banditry that is destroying them in the north was created by the people Buhari brought for mercenaries to destroy Nigeria in 2015 in case he did not win. Unfortunately, he won, and those people were left without fight. And they began to use the weapons that have been provided for. These guys have sophisticated their weapon. They move logistics, move money in dollars. Where do you think they're getting it from? You think it's from the sale of cow? No. The Bible says, watch and pray. We have been praying. This is the time to do what? To watch.
There is no negotiation with terrorists. What you have are official terrorists and bush terrorists having a conversation. So what you call negotiation is the discussion about sharing formula between the official terrorists who bring the money and the unofficial terrorists in whose name they are collecting the money. It's a racket. They are running a racket in front of you. There's a lot of money in government, and insecurity is one way to collect it without receipts. That's what they are doing. They're just scamming the Nigerians. There is no insecurity in the land that Nigerian armed forces and Nigerian police cannot get rid of under a good presidential system, under a good presidency. They will get rid of it. What they are doing is just scamming you. Just that they are constructing roads to nowhere. They are building on bridges that will never finish. There are a lot of projects in the sky. They found out that all other projects, you ask them, where's the road? Where's the bridge? Where's the school? But if they inundate you with insecurity, you cannot, and they say they have rescued 500 children, and 500 billion is gone. You cannot ask for receipts. If they are in the bushes, exchanging food and drinks with terrorists, and tell you that they have spent 4 trillion to keep you secure, you know you can't ask questions. That's why the president will tell you, every president will tell you, I will finish them. But when he comes in, they finish him with money. And he feels, okay, this is an easy way to raise money for campaign. That is why Nigeria has, in the world of hotel business, Nigeria has the highest number of military generals owning hotels, estates, and everything, on a salary of how much?
All right, let's look at, let me play the devil's advocate. If you have made the president today...
There are no devils in the country already, but you go ahead.
All right. Let's see, if you have made the president today, how will you address some of these challenges that you have pointed out that have consequence of almost failed Nigerians? How will you address it in 30 days?
The first thing to do is that you have to get a priority right. You have a pact with whoever you are going to make Chief of Army, Chief of the Navy, Chief of Air Force, head of the IG of police, DG of DSS, DMI, NIA, civil defense. We talk to everybody. I want the terrorists gone in 30 days. If they don't go in 30 days, you give me a letter of resignation. Simple. I'm not recruiting one more person to join you. I'm not doing anything. I am telling you in 30 days, or if you think you can't do it, don't take the job now. So that's the understanding between you and me when I'm giving you the job. And you will say, I can't do the job. Give it to the next person. I retire you and go to the next person. But if I find somebody who says, yes, we die here. Either, sir, I will be dead, or the terrorists will be dead. That is the person who can head my armed forces. Anybody who wants to go and run for governor later, saving money for it, go and find out what is the trajectory of all the service chiefs we have been having since 2008, when they foisted this scam called Boko Haram on us. Go and find out. Their trajectory is towards politics and big business. So I need to put a stop to that. Second, I need to govern the country according to the law. There is no terrorist who should be bigger than the divisional police officer in that division. Anything that will make me have a DPO in a police division that has a smaller gun than a terrorist, then I don't have a police. The biggest gun in the land ought to belong to the army. The next biggest gun should belong to the police. And there should be no terrorists who should be able to upset the armed forces. I don't know if you have organized a choir before.
Sure.
Once your choir members are up to 45, you must buy Panadol extra to coordinate them. Imagine an untrained person who happens to be a fanatic or a lunatic, and he says he's setting up a band of terrorists, and they are occupying territories the size of a state. How are they financing it? The logistics of it, the communication, and the whole country cannot raise an army to defeat them. If a terrorist is recruiting, before you can get 1,000 people, the government will know that it's a terrorist already. Government can quietly recruit 100,000 soldiers and nobody will know, and train them. A terrorist can be sponsored by 2 or 3 countries. Nigeria has 146 international friends. Many of them have treaties with us that will not stop them, that will not allow them to give excuses not to assist us. And many of the terrorists are well known. They have telephone numbers of governors. And every commissioner of police in a state has the telephone number of terrorists in that state. So, I will end this scam. Oh, clear. There's nothing complicated there. The real terrorist is the Azo Villa. The headquarters of Boko Haram is the same address of Tinubu. So if you post a letter to Tinubu, if it doesn't come out on time, Boko Haram will collect the letter and read it and pass it to him. They live together. They work together. They plan together. And they share together.
How do you mean that the headquarters, the address is at the villa?
Because the villa, the state house, is where all this criminality is being planned. If you deceive yourself and think that Nigerian army cannot defeat the terrorists, then you don't know Nigerian army. Try and whistle at the wife of a general, and you see how the entire barrack will descend on you. Try and a home minister of FCT could not collect 1 plot of land. You saw how that Navy captain stood his ground there, telling Wike, yes, you are not coming here. Imagine if every captain stood their ground and said terror is not entering Nigeria like that. If the armed forces strong enough to stop a minister who is representing the president from misbehaving on the land that he has interest, say, I have my orders. So are you telling me, if the president of Nigeria gives an order that the whole of Lagos State should be evacuated, the army in Lagos will evacuate everybody? If they give an order that the whole of Kanu State should be evacuated, the army has enough capacity to evacuate the whole state. The president made a proclamation, and the entire government house was forcibly evacuated in one day. So you are telling me that the president wants to end this thing, he will not end it. But their political money is tied to it.
Mm.
And if you think maybe because I don't like them, which I don't pretend about that, go and read the EFCC reports on what Jonathan did with the money he borrowed in the name of fighting Boko Haram. You are a journalist. You saw the trials. You saw the investigation. Who was collecting the money? The money was shared to politicians, girlfriends, contractors. Let's say we're even a nation of cripples. That sometimes in the past, there was no proper polio vaccination. A majority of Nigerians are crippled. We have no leg. We have enough resources to hire mercenaries to kill Boko Haram and terrorists and bandits. 5% of the money we make from gas, liquefied LNG, is enough to hire mercenaries. There are countries that are small, like Qatar, Kuwait, and all of that. And they have vast lands. It's impossible for them to raise an army, because the entire population is like a campus, a university campus in Nigeria. But they hire experts, and their country is still safe. How can Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, all those tiny population countries are feeling you can drive anywhere you like? I travel to those countries, I drive day and night in vast open land where nothing to stop you. You want to invade. Nobody is invading them. Your TV station, I've seen you with a number of drones because you like to cover a wedding, a football match, or anything. But the Nigerian police will be using word of mouth to look for bandits and terrorists. They can't even hire a drone. And they have billions. The person Tinubu put as his Minister of Defense, of all the people in Nigeria today that know something about defense, says that bomb cannot enter bushes. That when the bush is too thick, a bomb cannot enter. That's how we can catch terrorists. That is the Minister of Defense. Even in a comedy skit, a Minister of Defense will say, no, this is too stupid. I can't say it. But he said it. So governors who were known and were accused of being Boko Haram collaborators, they are the ones he put in charge of defense. So if you are a terrorist and your best buddy is in charge of the army of the other side, won't you go and buy a bottle of champagne and first chill and say, okay, the business has continued? So they're not serious. It gives the feeling to Nigerian people. They make the army look fatigued, so that when you see the army, you don't have confidence anymore. I remember during the time of 2023 election, was late 2022, I was campaigning to Zamfara State. I will go to the border and the army said, sir, you cannot pass. It's night, there's a curfew, nobody can pass here. Yeah. We have somewhere to go. What do you mean by that? They say, Boko Haram's on the way. We say, well, we still have to go. I want to be commander-in-chief of armed forces. How can I not be able to walk around my country again? So if escort us, they said no. So one of my campaign managers, Lawa, said, look, let's go and get vigilante. And we got vigilante. And they enter our convoy. And we go and we were going and they were saying, look at Boko Haram people there. And the vigilante came down, chased them, and they were running and we passed. And I came back and I gave an interview on TVC that, hey, this thing is a scam. I went somewhere 2 days ago, and the army told me nobody can pass. And I took vigilante and we chased them away and we passed. That's far back as 2022. It's 3 years plus now. So what I'm letting you know is that big coup in Guinea-Bissau, like they just did now, if they tell the 3D, the 3rd Division of Nigerian Army, go and flush them out, they will go and flush those people out. Nigerian Army, Nigerian forces can flush out Boko Haram, and Nigerian police can secure this country if there's a political leadership that says, do it. But there's nobody who is a commissioner of police, AIG or DIG, who too doesn't want to be a billionaire, and a governor, and a minister, and a senator, if that is the business of the day. There's nobody who's a general who sees his cosmate building hotels, estates. Go and take Nigerian Army military intelligence, just watch the spouses of your military officers. See them go to Madeira, go to Dubai, go to Cancun, go to the best places, shopping and buying things which the lifetime salary of their husband cannot afford. When serving military officers are sponsoring people for governor, concerning for that. So, I don't blame them. I blame the person who claims to be commander-in-chief, who is not doing the job. So that is what is happening. And if Nigerians don't understand that the spelling of Boko Haram is the same spelling as government, and that if the government wants to do it, they can do it. And your job is to make them do it.
So guys, a whole lot has been happening in Nigeria. People are just wondering, how are we going to come out of this mess in this country? I mean, we have leaders who think their interest is more important than the interest of Nigerians. And that is why they don't care. You know, that is why they don't care. That is why they don't care. So guys, we can't wait to see Tinubu begin to clean up his cabinet. He nominated all these people because of his own personal, let me say, Tinubu nominated all these people just for his own, how do I say it? Just for his own good. You know? Just for his own good. Tinubu did this just for his own political gain, not because he knows it's going to benefit Nigeria. And you know that, what's his name again? Buba Galadima has come out to say UK should recolonize Nigeria. Buba Galadima shocks Nigerians. UK to recolonize Nigeria. Buba Galadima is the one speaking, so there's a whole lot is happening in this country. We don't even know where we should be hiding, because there's nothing working. Tinubu is just after 2027. You know, he's just after 2027, and it does not even concern him if that is what Nigerians are looking for or not. I'm really so happy the way Trump has taken up all this, you know. Trump has really shown that he's a leader, I tell you. Trump has shown he's a father. For Trump to come out and begin to dare these people, it's really a welcome development. We cannot shy away from it. I mean, it's a very welcome development. It's a very welcome development. We cannot but just allow this country to breathe for a moment. I think that's just what we want. Allow this country to breathe. We can't continue like this. If Trump can just come and see how these people are daring Trump to his face, daring Nigeria to his face. You can imagine if there was no president like Trump, what would be happening now? I mean, if there was no president like Trump, what would have been happening to Nigeria by now? These terrorists will gradually take over the entire country. Because it's like Trump came and busted them, exposed them. APC leadership, since they came into power, they came with all kinds of things. Very shameless. They came with all kinds of things. They ousted Jonathan because of their own personal interests. See how the whole country has been set ablaze because of one man's interest. So guys, a whole lot is happening. I can't wait to see a Nigeria that works. I can't wait to really see a Nigeria that works. So I don't know what you make of this, but I think for me, it's really a welcome development. I'm happy that the US is taking this step to rescue Nigeria from all the mess we have been into. Because for the government, they don't care. It's none of their business. You know, they don't care. But we just hope that Nigeria will come out from this very soon. Anyway guys, let me know what you think about this in the comment section below. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification. Thank you.